If you ever struggled with installing a ridge board, this simple trick will make it faster, easier, and a lot less frustrating. Today we're focusing on a technique designed specifically for non-structural ridges, ridge boards that are 2x material, like a 2x10 for example. For this demonstration I've built a simple mock-up of a 512 roof. It has 2x8 rafters and a 2x10 ridge. If you're interested in learning more about calculating rafter dimensions, whether for a common roof or a hip roof, I'll leave a link to my full rafter playlist below. It's a great resource if you want to dive deeper into laying out and designing rafters. Now let's take a closer look at the ridge and see how this trick works. You'll notice the ridge board extends beyond the last rafters, 8 inches on each side in this example, and is notched so that the final dimension on the extended section is 5.5 inches. The 8-inch overhang corresponds to the overhang at the tail of the rafter, as it forms the base for the rake ladder. And at the top of the ladder, we will be supporting it by our 8-inch by 5.5-inch notched extension. What is a rake ladder? A rake ladder, also called a gable ladder, is a framing assembly that supports the overhanging portion of the roof along the rake, the sloped edge of the gable roof. It extends beyond the exterior walls, creating a roof overhang at the gable end. This not only enhances the architectural appearance of the roof, but also provides added protection against the elements. Typically, ladder racks are built after the roof is assembled, but sometimes they're built while the roof is being assembled on the ground and then raised up into place. The system consists of 2 longer pieces of material cut to match the angle of the rafters, with shorter blocks or spacers forming the classic ladder look. These components are fastened together with framing nails, securing the system to the ridge and to the gable end rafter. Setting up the ridge board. For today's simplified example, imagine these 2 studs defining the shape of the roof. The roof is 4 feet long and this is the width. Now the ridge board needs to be the same as the length, which is 4 feet. However, because we're doing ladders on the ends of the gable ends, we'll need to add 8 inches on either side for a total of 16 inches. So our ridge board needs to be 64 inches long. Once the ridge board length is determined, we can mark and cut the notches for the rake ladder. Using 2x10 materials measuring 9.25 inches wide, we mark 8 inches in from each end of the ridge and measure 5.5 inches down from the top to create the notch. This section gets cut out and the ridge board is ready for installation. Installing the ridge board with temporary blocks. This method of installation works really well for larger roofs because the rafters, when they're so big, they actually hold the temporary blocks in place. Here's how this is done. Step 1, prepare the temporary blocks. Cut a few blocks the same thickness as the ridge board. They don't need to be as tall, but they must match the thickness. Slightly larger blocks are fine, but avoid making them too small. Step 2, set the initial rafters. Instead of setting the ridge first, install 4 rafters, 2 on each side of the roof. Use the temporary blocks to hold the rafters into position. Secure the rafters at the bottom with a few framing nails, or in my case, a few screws to prevent movement, while the blocks create a friction fit that keeps everything stable. In step 3, position the ridge board. Once the rafters are in place and any necessary cuts are made, slide the ridge board from the bottom to the top right into position. Nail it securely through the rafters. This technique eliminates the need for building a dedicated support system to hold the ridge in place. Plus, it eliminates all the guesswork out and trying to figure out the ridge height. After the ridge board is installed, the remaining ladder racks and rafters can be filled in. With the roof framing complete, the next step is adding plywood to create a solid roof deck. This method is not suitable for all types of roof, but a lot of the roof systems that are built for residential houses, this works extremely well. It takes out all the guesswork and makes it safer and more efficient when you're putting this thing together. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. If you're interested in learning more in carpentry and woodworking, then my online community in school might be best for you. It's a place for beginner and intermediate woodworkers and carpenters to connect, learn, and support each other. You'll get exclusive videos, in-depth discussions, and I'll be on live Zoom calls so that I can help you personally with your projects. If you're interested in that community, just check out the link below. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next video.